Welcome to the Shootin' Show, brought to you in part by Gun Owners of America, Larry Pratt, Executive Director, and by Shooting Times Magazine, and also by Springfield Armory, Wesson Firearms, the United States Practical Shooting Association, Dillon Precision, Ducks Unlimited, the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association, Clark Custom Guns, Shotgun News, Fort Knox, Wyoming Arms, and a number of other good friends and supporters. Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome again to this week's program. We've got a great show for you. We have Lieutenant Colonel Art Alpin, who has some material that he did at West Point in past years as an instructor. It's really interesting. I know you're going to enjoy it. We have some gun tests, and let me remind you that a number of television stations and cable companies are calling us from all over the country. They're starting to run our program, and we have you, the viewers, to thank because so many of you have called and told them about our show. So, again, we have a great show in store for you. Just stay in here with us. We're going to start another Shootin' Show. Now, friends, I'm holding in my hands here one of the most useful firearms that I can imagine. One of the greatest compromises, and still, this is a gun that can literally do almost anything that you can ask a handgun to do, with the exception of hunting, shall we say, the larger big game. This is the Smith & Wesson 686 and 357 Magnum. It has a 6-inch barrel. And I have to tell you, this gun has about as smooth a factory action as I have ever encountered. And I would say this one is probably exceptional, but of course most of the Smith & Wessons that leave the factory do have very fine actions. This is really an excellent one here that I have today. But I say one of the most useful handguns because this gun, in fact, can be called on for home defense, as a police gun. And with a 6-inch barrel, it's easy to shoot accurately at longer ranges, 50, 75 yards with open sights, if you're a pretty good shot. And it can even hunt even deer-sized game out to 50 or 75 yards within the limitations of the 357 Magnum cartridge. So, again, we have really enjoyed shooting this gun. We just got it a few days ago, and it has really been a pleasure. The workmanship is just outstanding, and accuracy is awfully good. It looks like this particular gun with the ammunition it likes, and of course most of you will know that guns do tend to prefer one brand or type of ammunition. The next gun off the assembly line might like a different cartridge, but we've been shooting the excellent Federal 125 grain jacketed hollow point, and it will literally put them in one hole at 15 or 20 yards. It'll easily shoot a 1-inch, 1.5-inch group at 25 yards, which is as far as I've shot the gun as far as any distance. But it is really excellent. You have the full underlug barrel, and let's see if we can get a close-up on this so you can look at it a little better. As I said a moment ago, it has a full underlug barrel. It has a red ramp front sight, and I made a change. I put the Packmare grips on the gun myself, and I just like the profile and the way the Packmares feel in my hand. It came with very nice and pretty hardwood grips. But of course, it is a 6-shot revolver, and it's built on the L frame, which is a frame that is between the larger N frame, which is the 44 Magnum frame, and the K frame, which was the 38 Special and Model 19 frame, which is still a K frame. So this is a compromise between the two frames. It's built for durability and ease of carry. This particular gun, I would expect, well, who knows what the service life on a gun like this is with proper care and maintenance. Jerry Michalik on his 357 N frame has, I would imagine by now, around 200,000 rounds out of that gun. I would just hate to guess what the service life on these guns would be because they're just almost indestructible. They'll just last and last and last. So the beauty part about a quality 357 like this It will shoot 38 special ammunition at low velocity and low noise level and certainly low recoil level. But then you have the capability of the single most effective handgun round available
for defense.
And that is, of course, the federal 125 grain jacketed hollow point, according to the case studies of Evan Marshall. So this is a gun. If you're a homeowner and you want an all-around gun that you want to use for defense or for recreational shooting, you really can't do better than an L-frame Smith & Wesson such as this one I have today. It is, of course, in stainless steel. And now, no stainless steel is what you'd call rust-proof. Stainless is rust resistance because stainless steel will corrode from abuse. It will deteriorate slightly, but the beauty part is on a stainless gun like this, if you do get some corrosion from lack of care, it can be polished away and the gun still looks like it did originally. So we're going to be shooting this gun in just a moment. Again, as a police weapon for police officers, I am not convinced that semi-automatics are better than revolvers. They're easy to reload with speed loaders, and it just depends on what you like. Of course, we shoot semi-automatics and revolvers and single shots and anything else we can get our hands on. So this would be a first choice for anyone needing a strong and powerful handgun. So let's shoot this Smith & Wesson L-frame 686 and see what it looks like. Now, friends, as I said a moment ago, and I never forget that we need to emphasize ear and eye protection. Whenever we shoot, our camera personnel, everyone on the range always has ear and eye protection because our sight and our hearing are just too precious to lose. But I want to mention that the 38 Special in many 357 Magnum guns is superbly accurate. They're more accurate than we would think with that longer jump the bullet has to make to the barrel. So watch the gun in recoil. You can shoot 38 Specials to train a new shooter, or maybe you have someone in your family that needs to be able to shoot this gun and you can't have the full charge 357s for your particular situation. You can always drop back to the 38 Special, and of course one of the most effective loads in 38 Special, not counting the mag safes or laser safety slugs, would be the 158 grain lead hollow points, and several manufacturers make that. And of course, if you go to one of the terrific mag safe loads or one of the other specialty loads, then the gun becomes even with the lesser intensity cartridges like the 38 Special, extremely effective on any, shall we say, any target that you would need to defend your home against, most probably. So with this heavier barrel, I want you to watch what the gun does in recoil with a 38 Special loading. All right? So just very low recoil with 38 Special. Now then, let's put some full charge 357. And of course I have this is a Safari Land speed loader, and you can have one in, this is called a Comp 2, and I have another, and let's get a close-up of that because a lot of you are not familiar with speed loaders. Those of us who are action shooting or just basic enthusiasts with revolvers or semi-automatics would be, but I don't want to lose my crowd out there who does not know much about handguns. So let's get a look at these. Now, friends, the speed loader in my left hand, which is taller, of course, is the Safariland Comp 3, and of course in here it has a spring that literally throws the cartridges into the chamber. Now this one, which is the Comp 2 on my right, is more compact. It's a little bit easier to carry in the speed loader holders, but both of them work real well. And of course we have showed HKS speed loaders at other times, but this would really be useful information if you want to learn to shoot and reload a revolver rapidly. These speed loaders are just essential, and typically they're very inexpensive for what they do, and we highly recommend, if you have a revolver, go out and talk to your gun shop owner and get some speed loaders that will fit your revolver and learn to use them. Now, friends, you'll notice, of course, this is a full charge 357 with these tremendous federal cartridges in it, and the way to shoot a gun like this, preferably is with both hands. Don't try and strangle the revolver. Just get a good strong grip. We'll push with our right hand. Since I'm right-handed, I'll pull with my left, and it's really not going to be that bad. This bullet leaves this barrel on this particular gun at about 1,500 feet a second, which is hot in anybody's language. So let's shoot the gun, let you watch it in recoil, which really, again, for what the gun is really not that bad in recoil. Now, friends, what I have here on our old scrap wood target frame, and really that's an excellent, if you have some scrap lumber, and that's a great thing to make target frames out of, because you're going to shoot them from time to time. And the good news is they're easy to repair. But what we're going to do, we're going to take this loaded 686, and I want to show you that you can shoot rapidly into a smaller target. And this is an IPSC type target with basic scoring rings. A lot of police departments and security agencies use targets that would resemble this, with a large hole centrally on the target and a small one at the top. And just to give you an idea, and we have people that call and write to me, and I would like to say I am probably about as good an average shooter as there is. Most of you out there, with a little practice, can shoot at least as well as I can, and it's a great sport, it's great to do. So if you see me doing something, say, well, that wasn't all that much, well, just think about it, you might be able to do better. But I sincerely enjoy it, and like I said, I like to do as well as I can, and certainly competing, I always try and do as well as I can. But let's watch. On this target, we're going to shoot fairly rapidly with the full charge 357 Magnum, just to show you that it can be done pretty rapidly. Of course, that's 6 shots. And in a fairly rapid group, let's see, they're all 6 there, good. As I said earlier, and you can see the gun is easy to shoot rapidly if you just if you get out and learn to shoot your firearm. That's what it's all about, is we want our viewers to go out and shoot and learn to shoot and handle your firearm properly. This is as good a defensive handgun as I can imagine, and would be one of my very first choices as a gun for a homeowner or a one handgun owner. This is one of the best, the great 686 from Smith & Wesson.
I was only gone for a minute.
I didn't realize it might be dangerous.
I never thought something might happen.
Whatever the excuse for an accident in the home, the result, unfortunately, is the same. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham, and believe me, if you just take a moment to make absolutely sure guns are unloaded and secured in a safe place, you'll never have to make an excuse for a gun accident in your home. This message is a public service of this station and the National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Get ready to order the most exciting videotape ever offered on television. It's the best of guns, guns, guns. 60 minutes of action, excitement, and the most amazing display of firearms available on video. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and machine guns. See Bob Munden, the fastest gun who ever lived. USPSA pistol competition. The Steel Challenge. U.S. Marine Corps weapons. Machine guns from around the world, and lots of surprises. If you like guns, you'll love the best of guns, guns, guns. Available only through this special TV offer. Fast draw competition, hand cannon, Soldier of Fortune firepower, how to shoot fast, and lots more like you've never seen it before in this 60-minute action-packed video. Use your credit card to order toll-free now. Call 1-800-942-8273. You'll receive the best of guns, guns, guns for just $29.95 plus $4 shipping. By ordering now, you'll receive this 28-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So call with your credit card right now, 1-800-942-8273, or send check or money order to 7888 Ostro Street, Suite A, San Diego, California, 92111.
Friends, the Shootin' Show will be back in 1 minute after this break for your local cable company or television station. Now, friends, we have some great footage in store for you next, and this comes to us by courtesy of Lieutenant Colonel Art Alpin, retired, from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. Here's some actual classroom lecture that Art has done in the past at West Point, and we would like to mention that the A-Square Company builds some of the finest big game rifles in the world, and their address is A-Square, 1 Industrial Park, Bedford, Kentucky. The zip code is 40006. Their phone number is area 502-255-7456. And we appreciate Art Alpin working with us on this project. I think it's really a tremendous feature. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
Common belief amongst many people is that if only Custer had had Winchester lever-action rifles, he would never have been massacred at the last stand. You've seen the Model 1873 Springfield before. It is an improvement of Erskine Allen's trapdoor of 1866. This weapon, in carbine form, was the weapon of the 7th Cavalry. This is the 1873 Winchester. It holds 12 rounds in its tubular magazine. In order to fire, the shooter need only move the lever down and up. This extracts and ejects the old cartridge case, feeds a new cartridge into the chamber, and cocks the rifle. Let's watch the Winchester strut its stuff on the range. You saw the extreme difficulty in loading the Winchester's magazine. When you put the lever action against the clock, all of a sudden its volume of fire is not so great. Further, some of the rounds were hitting short. When you fire at the extremely high rate, which I did with the first magazine full, 12 rounds in 15 seconds, you find that you can't reacquire the sight picture because the slap of the upward motion of the lever knocks the barrel downwards. If you are to deliver accurate fire, you must take 2 or 3 seconds after the motion of the lever to reacquire your sight picture. On the chart, it looks like this. The difference in volume between the two rifles is not that great. And remember, with the trapdoor Springfield, when the range closes, his volume of fire will go up to 9 or 10. And the Winchester at 13 is going flat out constantly. What about the range? Are we cheating the Winchester? Surely it must be better than this. In fact, we're giving the Winchester the benefit of the doubt. The Model 1873 Winchester was chambered for 4 different cartridges. The most powerful of them was the 4440. That's a 200-grain 44 caliber bullet with 40 grains of black powder. Chronographed on modern instruments, it delivers just over 1,000 feet per second. This means that the Model 1873 Winchester is only slightly more powerful than the .45 automatic of today. The Winchester was about a 120-yard rifle at best. In fact, at 120 yards, the Winchester had roughly the energy of a .45 automatic at 80 yards. Why did Winchester use such weak cartridges? The Model 73 was really a very poor design. Though it looks on the outside like a nice big lever action, when you take the side plate off, you find a different story. The bolt is held forward by this toggle arrangement, and the toggle is held closed by the fingers holding the lever against the grip of the rifle. You couldn't make it for any more powerful a cartridge. When this design was scaled up in 1876, the result was still no good. The design is weak and extremely inefficient in length. It simply will not take long, powerful cartridges. Further, Mr. Winchester's production couldn't keep up with his boasts. In 1873, he produced only 126 rifles. It wasn't until the 1880s before Oliver Winchester was capable of consistently producing these rifles in large quantity. When he did produce them, he was producing them for deer hunters, other people who were shooting at close range, and for people who wanted a rifle that fired the same cartridge as their revolver. It was not until 1886 when manufacturing capability and design caught up with desire. These came together in the 1886 Winchester. You can see the 2 locking lugs sliding in corresponding slots in the receiver, which lock the bolt closed. This was the first lever action that would take the large black powder cartridges that ranged out to 150 yards and beyond. By 1886, however, the buffalo were gone and the Indians largely defeated. So let us get back to the time frame at hand. Was the lever action Winchester of 1873 totally devoid of redeeming social value? No, not exactly. In the hands of trained troops, led by men who understood the capabilities and limitations of the Winchester, and who were willing to weave that into their battle plan and their tactical organization, the Winchester might still contribute to the successful outcome of battle. A good example is the Battle of Plevna in 1877. In this battle, the Russians were charging across open ground towards Turkish entrenchments. The Turks, during the 1870s, had been on a weapons buying spree throughout the industrialized world. They had bought a large number of Mauser single shots, Remington rolling blocks, and Peabody single shots, among others. They had also bought a number of Henry and Model 1873 Winchesters. At Plevna, they equipped each and every man with a long-range single-shot breech loader and its ammunition, and with a Winchester lever action and its ammunition. As the Russians attacked, the Turks engaged them at long range and extracted heavy casualties. Only when the pitiful remnants of the Russian attack closed to within 80 yards did the officers order their men to put down the single shots and use the Winchesters, which were sitting ready with full magazines. The resulting storm of lead literally blew the Russians from the field before the magazines were empty. How about the 7th Cavalry at the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876? Would Winchesters have saved them? I doubt it. The 7th Cavalry had a very high percentage of raw recruits. Discipline was quite poor, and there was little strong junior officer or NCO leadership. Custer, with his 5 troops or companies, allowed himself to be surprised by a vastly superior enemy at close range. Based on the location of the bodies, it is apparent that his companies were out of mutual supporting distance. They could not mass their fire, and Custer either made no attempt or could not make any attempt to do any better. The Indians were at close range when the contact started, and they literally stormed over the troopers. I should point out that based on the evidence of weapons confiscation from the Indians in the period 1876 to 1892, we can assume that of the Indians that attacked Custer, only 1 in 3 had a firearm, and of that 1 in 3, fewer than 1 of 3 again, 1 of 3 again, had any sort of breech loader or repeater whatsoever. Out of those weapons, you could expect a further 20 to 25% that would not work due to lack of spare parts or ammunition. Custer engaged a numerically superior enemy under conditions that suited the enemy's weapons, mostly bow and arrow and shock weapons, and his numbers. No other weapon in existence at that time could have saved Custer. How about the other portion of Custer's command, Reno and Benteen? They paid a heavy price in close-range engagements with the Indians as they retreated to the top of a hill. Once there, they slew their horses and commenced to dig in. From that position, the long-range fire from their 45-70s kept the Indians at bay and repulsed 3 determined assaults. These troops did have trouble with extraction and ejection of cartridge cases from their 45-70 trapdoor carbines. However, the reason was that they carried their cartridges in leather loop cartridge belts. Tanning acids from leather quickly corrode the copper in the brass cartridge case, forming a green verdigris. When you fire a cartridge with this verdigris on it, it will expand in the chamber and literally weld itself within the chamber. Standard procedure at the time was to take the cartridges from the belt daily, clean, and oil them. This was simply not done in the 7th Cavalry. Do not think that this is a problem only in the 1870s. In the 1930s through 1950s, more than a few police officers were slain for the very same reason. If you look at Winchester and Remington advertisements of the 1950s, you will find that they advertise police ammunition in .38 Special, where the cartridge cases are plated with nickel so that this verdigris will not form. Back to Reno and Benteen. As the days wore on before Reno's and Benteen's relief, the Indians stopped charging and engaged in a long-range gunnery duel. A few men amongst the cavalry, Captain French being one of them, had brought the long-barreled infantry rifle with its more powerful ammunition. One member of the command, First Sergeant Ryan, had brought his privately owned long-range Sharps Buffalo rifle. It was these few men who finally drove the Indians completely out of range by virtue of gunfire alone. Myths, I suppose, die hard. Custer's defeat had nothing to do with his weapons. It was due to his cornucopia of other errors. The weapons of the cavalry did not suffer that great a disadvantage in overall volume of fire, and certainly had the combat range to make up for it. Custer simply never used them properly.
The Shooting Show will be back in 1 minute after this break for your local cable comedy or television station. And now we're very pleased to present our segment with Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America. Their address is 8001 Forbes Place, Suite 102, Springfield, Virginia. The zip code is 22151. For more information on GOA, call area 703-321-8585.
This is Larry Pratt with a commentary from Gun Owners of America. Al and Ursula Gracia were among the 23 people killed by George Hennard when he opened fire at Luby's Cafeteria in Killeen, Texas in October 1991. In February of 1992, their daughter, Dr. Susanna Gracia, addressed Texas legislators who are considering changes in the state's gun laws. Gracia, who survived the attack, strongly condemned state laws which prohibit honest citizens from carrying a gun concealed. The point is this, said Gracia before a cheering audience, is someone legislated me out of the right to protect myself and my loved ones. While Gracia was joined by another massacre survivor in asking for a concealed carry law, some speakers were not in agreement. Dr. Manny Gennaro, speaking for Handgun Control Incorporated, claimed that the death toll could have been even higher if restaurant patrons hadn't shot back. But Gracia disagreed with this view that says citizens should be left defenseless against criminals. The fact is, you can't go up against an armed man unless you are armed, she said. Gracia, who used to carry a gun in her purse, explained that she could have defended herself and stopped Hennard's rampage. I was down on my knees, she said. This guy was standing up. There were no innocent people between me and him. I would have been aiming up. I had a place to prop my gun. I was mentally, totally prepared to do it. There was no panic involved. Then I realized my gun was sitting in my car 100 yards over there, but I couldn't get to it. Now I thought, what do I do now? Throw my purse at him? Gracia, who is a chiropractor in the state of Texas, said she had stopped carrying the gun in her purse because she feared that getting caught could jeopardize her medical license and her ability to make a living. If the Citizens Self-Defense Amendment Gun Owners of America is promoting were on the books, Susanna Gracia would have been able to carry her pistol. She might have killed Hennard before he killed her parents. And best of all, she would have been immune from prosecution for violating Texas's ban on people carrying concealed firearms.
It's fast. It's exciting. It's challenging. It's fun. This is the USPSA, United States Practical Shooting Association, the fastest growing sport in America today. If you'd like to become more proficient and confident with your firearm, meet new and interesting people, and compete with thousands around the world, join the USPSA. There's a local chapter near you.
Now, friends, I have in my hands possibly the neatest commercial development in handguns this year. And what you see here is the new Colt government model in stainless steel, but this one has an important difference. It is the new enhanced model in 45 ACP chambering, and friends, trust me on this one, Colt has finally done it. This, in my humble opinion, is a gun that they should have started building about 10 years or so ago, and I'm just glad now with the new and progressive Colt management that they're really paying attention to the shooter's needs out there. This gun differs from a standard government model in that it has a lowered and relieved ejection port, it has a flat top slide, it has a beaver tail grip safety, it has a commander type hammer, not a commander hammer, but a commander type hammer. It has a beveled magazine well for easy and quick insertion of magazines, plus a few other refinements. It has excellent, easy to see sights on the gun, and I can't tell you just how excited I am that they finally have started shipping these guns for sale. Because, friends, there are so many fine semi-automatics out there, the double action semi-automatics, and of course the good folks from Glock with their guns, but nothing is better in a semi-automatic than one of these terrific Colts, and this is the most enduring design. I'll stress again, as I've said before, proper safety and handling procedures must be observed with these guns. And of course we know this gun is unloaded, and I'm going to check it. Yes, indeed, it is unloaded. And as I said on other programs, there's no reason I know of you should ever have an accidental discharge with one of these single-action government model Colts. And the reasoning is, and I'll say it again, you should never lower the hammer on a live round. If you want to lower the hammer, drop the magazine out of the gun, push the safety off, do not, repeat,
do not touch the trigger.
Push the safety off like so, and pull the slide back and eject the shell. At that time, then lower the hammer if you so desire. If you want to carry the gun again with the hammer down,
do it with an empty chamber and loaded magazine.
The condition 2 with the hammer down on a loaded chamber, I don't agree with at all. I don't understand it. I don't see the point in it. So this gun is designed, and of course it has the new firing pin block that is very successful from Colt. The gun is not going to go off even if it is cocked and the safety locked on. If you drop it on a hard surface like concrete, the gun's not going off because it's got a firing pin safety. So I really don't recommend condition 2 at all. The other people that I know and shoot with and talk with who are professionals with guns, nobody recommends condition 2. It's either condition 1 with the chamber loaded, the hammer cocked back and safety locked on, or condition 3, which would be the hammer down over an empty chamber with a loaded magazine. And of course, if you want to carry the gun like that, obviously if there's no bullet in the barrel, it can't fire. So to ready the gun for firing, all you would do would be rack the slide back, let it go, and then, of course, then apply the safety. Then you're in condition 1 with a loaded chamber, hammer cocked, and safety on. But back to the gun itself, this is one of the most exciting things because of all the designs out there, we really haven't improved, in my opinion, on John Browning's original 1911 design for a semi-automatic handgun. There are other very fine handguns, and we test them constantly for our show, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying this is as good a design. It's kind of like a fork or a spoon. They have a design that works. You can make them different, but you can't make them better for their intended task. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the top of the heap. As far as semi-automatic pistols goes, it is at least as good as anything else. And of course, the new magazines that they're shipping with this gun came with 2 magazines, and it is a Shooting Star magazine. And instead of 7, it holds 8 in the magazine. So that gives you a potential of 9 loaded rounds And trust me on this one, 9 rounds of this Remington 185 grain plus P, or the new Federal 230 grain Hydra Shots, or the new Winchester full charge load, not counting something like the MagSafe, which is just another whole kind of cartridge as far as effectiveness goes. You're awfully well armed, about as well armed as you can be with a handgun. So we're going to shoot this Colt in just a moment. Let's see if we can get a close-up of it and let you see just a little closer. And I hope you can see just how finely this Colt is made. All the surfaces are straight where they're supposed to be. It's polished where it's supposed to be. It's sharp where it's supposed to be. I tell you what, when it comes to making a semi-automatic handgun, the Colt people do know how to do it. And we want to encourage you folks to look at the new Colt products, because they're really making an effort. Colt has had a difficult time the last several years, much of it not of their own making, but I understand they're doing real well now, and they're selling everything they can make. So again, the enhanced model 45 government model. Okay, friends, we're going to load the new enhanced model government model, and that's almost poetic, enhanced model government model, whatever. But we're going to shoot these steel targets over here. I've loaded the magazine with 8 cartridges. And of course, it goes in the base. Be sure that the magazine is all the way in the gun. It's so important. So we're going to pull the slide back. And I will mention it has a plastic trigger, and which is sort of a new departure for Colt. But I tell you what, it works for Glock. So I don't see why it wouldn't work for the good Colt people. All right, again, pull that slide back and let it go and apply the safety. So let's shoot these steel targets, and be sure my hearing protection is in well. So I'll still have my hearing today when I leave the range. So the gun is just ridiculously easy to shoot. Very little recoil. The beaver tail grip safety is an awfully nice touch. These guns really benefit from so much. So let's shoot these steel targets over here with it, with the 230 grain service load. And you notice, and of course I've applied the safety. That 230 grain bullet, it knocks fire of those plates. So for home defense, or a carry gun if you're a police officer, or still in the military or whatever, if you want one of, and I won't say the ultimate semi-automatic, because probably nothing the ultimate of has been built, but let me tell you what, one of the absolute best, you can't do better than this Colt enhanced model government model. Well, let's shoot it on paper and let you look at just what it'll do as far as accuracy is concerned. All right. Now, friends, we're going to shoot this paper target over here with this new Colt enhanced government model. And I tell you what, at reasonable ranges, and believe me, this particular gun, we bought this gun at Britain's gun shop. This is not a factory loaner. So I can't be accused of having a factory ringer gun, as in a factory hand-prepared gun, because we bought this one right over the counter. And I'm sure that it's representative of what Colt is sending out these days. So I think you'll understand, when we talk about accuracy, I think you'll understand. We're going to get a close-up of this paper target out here at about 32 feet, in fact. We're going to shoot at a point on the target. And let's see what our group looks like with full metal jacket military ball. Okay, friends, that's 8 shots. Heck, I forgot I have one in the barrel. It's 9. I've already put the safety on because of my training. But you saw this with no breaks for editing or whatever. Can we get a close-up of that target? Just zoom on up there. I want folks to see this. This is a 100% stock enhanced Colt. And you saw I was taking my time. but I just want to show you what the gun will do offhand. Now, friends, that group's going to be hard to measure because it's all one hole. So, yes, I am excited, and yes, the boys in my local club better look out because, because I'm coming down to compete. And trust me on this one, I will have this new coat, and we'll just see about some of those trophies now. So, needless to say, yes, I am impressed and enthused. This is going to be a gun that I personally am going to keep, and they're really reasonably priced for what they are, because they have so many of the modifications that a lot of us would get on a custom gun. So, yes, I recommend it. Yeah, I think I'll go get 2 of them.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or television station. We want to remind you of our good friends at Shooting Times Magazine, the absolute best general information shooting magazine available on your newsstand today. They have all sorts of articles on handguns and long guns and hunting and all sorts of information about reloading and gun safety and many, many other fine features by some of your favorite firearms writers. For subscription information, call Shooting Times at 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is. Now, friends, by just looking, you'd never guess that this petite young lady is carrying not one, but in fact 2 handguns. And this is the fantastic concept of the shadow concealment systems. And you'll notice as she unbuttons her sweater, she's carrying a full-size .357 on her left, and she's carrying a Ladysmith on her right. This is one of the neatest concepts that I have ever seen for concealed holsters. And here she is again. Again, you'd never guess that she's carrying a full-size .45 ACP semi-automatic handgun along with 2 magazines in the Shadow Concealment Systems holsters. They fit inside the pants, and it's amazing how comfortable they are. And this is something we highly recommend because in many areas, concealed handgun permits are available. I would sincerely suggest getting a catalog from Shadow Concealment Systems at Post Office Box 3952, Wilmington, North Carolina. Their zip code is 28406, or give them a call at area 919-791-6656. Trust me on this one. This is a great idea and a tremendous concept, and a lot of us could really find uses for these.
When you're armed, you can just say no.
But what I have is one of the most important rifles that we will have or come in contact with in our endeavors or our career as shooters. This is, in fact, a single-shot .22 long rifle, and this particular gun has been in our family now since about 1925. This one was made by Winchester, and this was the first gun I ever shot myself. Many years ago, was this Winchester .22 long rifle single shot. There are so many advantages to a single shot for a new shooter. One, like Barney Fife, Andy Griffith only used to give him 1 bullet at a time. So there was reason for that because, you know, every time that Andy would give Barney his bullet years ago, Barney was not a safe shooter. He'd normally shoot off somewhere there in the courthouse and embarrass everyone. Thankfully, of course, we know that Barney was shooting blanks anyway, but that was certainly an example of unsafe gun handling. But what you can do, you can give a child 1 bullet at a time and load that in the gun, and you don't worry about, when the gun's fired once, you don't worry about whether or not there's another bullet in the gun on the single shot .22. A number of companies make these guns, and even after you learn how to shoot, once you school your children in shooting a single shot, they're still fun for adults. They're great for target practice. I will tend not to shoot as many shells coming out with this gun, say with a 15 or 20 shot semi-automatic 22. I will tend to do more shooting, but I still have just as much fun with this old single shot. It's an excellent gun for squirrel hunting, for all kinds of things. Here in Louisiana, we can hunt raccoons with a 22 rifle, and they're good for that. And it makes you be a little more sure. You know that you've got one shot, and it's going to take you just a few moments to reload another one. So sometimes we tend to be a little more sure of our target. Friends, when I picked this little gun up, and I remember the fond memories that I have when my father was first teaching me to shoot a gun of any kind, it really brings all that back to you, these many years later, and I still enjoy shooting. Still as much fun today as it was the first time I pulled the trigger.
Now, friends, our good friend Lenny McGill with Mail Order Video has sent us some footage on the 1989 Steel Challenge. And even though that's a couple of 3 years ago, I still think you're going to enjoy watching some of these great champions shooting their handguns. We're going to see a few minutes excerpted from the entire match tape. And, of course, this is available from Mail Order Video, 7888 Ostro Street, Suite A, San Diego, California. The zip code is 92111. And to order, call toll-free 1-800-942-TAPE. I think you're really going to enjoy watching. Even though it's a couple of years back, the information and the shooting is still excellent.
Over the next 3 days, more than 50,000 rounds will be fired. Pistols will be drawn from their holsters more than 8,000 times. And 275 of the world's fastest shooters will face 150 different targets. It's all for one purpose: to find out who is truly the fastest shooter in the world. From the beautiful hills of West Thompson's Lake Piru Gun Club just north of Los Angeles, California. Hello, I'm Lenny McGill, and welcome to the 9th Annual World Speed Shooting Championships, the 1989 Steel Challenge. From the start, this pistol tournament has been one of the most exciting around, showcasing the shooter's abilities to draw his gun and hit steel targets in the shortest amount of time. Each stage has a throwaway room, allowing the shooter to make one mistake without affecting his overall score. This gives the competitor a cushion for error, which gives them the opportunity to let it all hang out and go for that blazing speed. For the TV audience, we will be showing only the runs that count, giving you the chance to see more shooters than before. This year, there are 7 pistol, 1 rifle, and 2 shotgun stages. The person with the lowest combined score on the pistol stages will win over $10,000 in cash and prizes, plus the good fortune of being called the fastest shooter in the world for the next year. The odds-on favorite is Chip McCormick, who last year became the first person to win this tournament twice. Other shooters to watch for are IPSC World Champion Rob Latham, second chance winner Jerry Michalik, the Yankee Cup winner Brian Enos, or maybe somebody new like Doug Koenig or Angelo Spagnoli. Now don't go away. Coming up is our first event, the Springfield Armory Go for Broke stage. In this event, the contestant stands in the first shooting box. Upon the start signal, the shooter draws and places one hit on each of the rectangular plates. The shooter then steps to the second shooting box and fires at the 3 remaining round plates, hitting the center stop plate last. Failure to hit the stoplight will result in a 30-second run. There is a 5-second penalty for each target not hit, a premature shot, each shot fired without both feet in the shooting box, and for each shot fired on the wrong target. Our first shooter is last year's Women's Steel Challenge winner, Susan Cooper from Roanoke, Virginia. One of the top speed shooters in the world, Angelo Spagnoli from San Francisco. Angelo is always one of the consistent top finishers here at the Steel Challenge. The reigning world speed shooting champion, Chip McCormick from Texas. Chip became the first two-time winner of the Steel Challenge last year. Chip lets it loose on that last run. That one was for the crowd. Chip McCormick has done what 6 world champions before him were unable to do. He is the first two-time winner of the World Speed Shooting Championships, the 1988 Steel Challenge. Now, that was last year. Let's see how Chip is shooting this year.
Stand by. Stand by.
Here's Robbie Latham.
Stand by.
Now, friends, we sure want to mention Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. You have over 35,000 firearms bargains, 36 big issues for only $20. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. Their zip code is 68902. You can call them at area 402-463-4589. Or for MasterCard and Visa customers for subscriptions only, call 1-800-345-6923. Shotgun News. Get it today. Don't put it off. Friends, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of The Shootin' Show. I'm Johnny Rowland, your host, and we hope that we can come back to your house again next week. If you would like to be on our show with some sort of club or music presentation, give us a call at area 318-222-8515. Remember, copies of our shows are available for $10.95 plus postage per weekly program. And we want to remind you to call your local cable companies because we are free to them and we want to be in as many areas as possible. See you next week. Welcome to the Shootin' Show, brought to you in part by Gun Owners of America, Larry Pratt, Executive Director, and by Shooting Times Magazine, and also by Springfield Armory, Wesson Firearms, the United States Practical Shooting Association, Dillon Precision, Ducks Unlimited, the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association, Clark Custom Guns, Shotgun News, Fort Knox, Chief AJ, Wyoming Arms, and a number of other good friends and supporters.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show. We're brought to you in part by Gun Owners of America and Shooting Times magazine and a number of other good friends and very fine sponsors. We want to tell you how glad we are to have you with us today. We've heard from so many people around the country in support of our program, and we do appreciate your calls and letters. Please, there's something you can do for us. Call your local cable company and tell them that we're free to local cable and we've left some spots for their advertisement, and this will help us reach more viewers than we are already. We have some cable companies already taping and running our show, and we'll be very pleased to have as many as we can get. So, let's get the Shootin' Show underway. Friends, this is the excellent Springfield Armory model 1911-A1 in 45 ACP. And this is one of the very best handguns. It's a classic. This particular model handgun has been in the U.S. military service for longer than any other gun, certainly that I'm aware of. They're excellent in quality, they're accurate, they're easy to shoot well, and they're very economical for what they are. This particular model has been modified very slightly by Jeff Cooper's Armory out in Gunsight in Paulden, Arizona, and it's just been slicked up a little bit. And of course, to be one of Colonel Cooper's conversions, you have to start with an absolute top quality handgun to begin with. It's like any other government model, 45. It holds 7 in the magazine in 45 ACP, and of course this gun is available in some other calibers, but it holds 7 in 45 ACP. It loads just like any other semi-automatic handgun. The magazine goes in the base. To load the gun, we pull the slide back like so and let it go. Don't let it ease forward. Let it go. And then apply the safety.
And now let's test fire this excellent Springfield Armory 1911-A1 in 45 ACP on these steel targets.
The excellent Springfield Armory 1911-A1 45 ACP. Power and accuracy. All right, friends, let's shoot the excellent Springfield Armory P9. And again, this is the factory comp gun. It has a compensator and these 2 chambers out on the end. This is, of course, on the end of the barrel, and it keeps the muzzle down. It enables you to reacquire your target easier and faster. So this is a tremendous gun. It's available in 9mm, 40 caliber, and 45 ACP after the first of the year. This one has a hard chromed frame with a blued slide. It has terrific sights on it, and it's really a superior piece of workmanship. It has the fancy hardwood grips that are very finely checkered. It also has an extended magazine release, so you can change your magazines a little quicker, as well as a beveled magazine well.
The Springfield Armory P9 holds 15 rounds in the magazine in 9mm chambering. It's extremely easy to shoot, it's accurate, and is an excellent value for the money. Let's shoot some steel targets now and see what it looks like.
Yeah, that's fine.
We also want to mention some of the other Springfield Armory products, the fabulous M1A rifle, which is the absolute ultimate in long-range power and accuracy in a semi-automatic rifle, and also the M6 Scout, which was originally a survival gun concept. It's an over and under 22 long rifle on the top and 410 shotgun on the bottom. So please, wherever Springfield Armory products are sold, take a look at them. You won't be disappointed.
You know, the best planned hunt can be ruined by the smallest thing, like ending up with the wrong ammunition. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham. Truth is, choosing the right load can make all the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful hunt. So, what's the best way to match your ammo to the game you're after? That's easy. Take the guesswork out of ammo selection. To make sure you get the right stuff when it comes to ammunition, see the real pro in your community.
When I was 6 years old and living in Florida, my Aunt Dot went to England as a nurse during World War II. Before she left, she promised to bring me back a machine gun, and I was bitterly disappointed when she came home without it. She swears to this day that she had the gun, but they took it away from her when she went to get on board the ship. I might be a little older now, but not much has changed. I still enjoy machine guns, and I know that thousands of others out there do too. What you're about to see is the fun, the history, and some straight talk about one of the most misunderstood pieces of engineering in America. We'll be showing and shooting the widest array of machine guns ever assembled, from the oldest to the very latest. We'll talk about some of the developments in engineering, the mistakes, twists, and turns the gun has taken. If you've never shot a machine gun, or even if you have, we think you're about to embark on a fascinating journey that will include a grand finale worth waiting for.
Now, friends, I think we've probably got your attention by now. This is part of the excellent machine gun magic tape from Dillon Precision Products. So get a pencil so you can be sure and get this number at Dillon Precision Products. This is one of the greatest action tapes involving guns that I have ever seen, and believe me, if you don't buy another tape for the next 2 or 3 years, you ought to get this one. So call them at 1-800-421-7632. And we're going to continue with a couple of more excerpts out of this tremendous tape.
No one's suggesting that machine guns are for everyone, any more than a Formula One race car is for everyone. They're exotic pieces of machinery. They're expensive to buy and expensive to shoot. The least expensive belt-fed machine gun will cost $3,000, whereas an exotic piece like a minigun may go for as much as $30,000. Machine guns are clearly the best behaved of all classes of firearms. How well behaved are they? Federal firearms agent Jack Killeran told us, quote, "Since 1934, there has been an insignificant number of machine guns used in crime. It doesn't amount to a handful," unquote. You would think this kind of record would satisfy those who favor more gun regulation, but it doesn't. Despite the evidence, even more restrictions were added in 1986. The Firearm Owners Protection Act states, no machine gun made after May 18, 1986 can be sold to a private citizen. That cuts out citizen ownership of new guns made in the future. All this regulation, by the way, when regulators admit criminals don't even want machine guns. Shooting exotic weapons at moving targets is a lot of fun, but the first thing we had to do is figure out a place we could do it safely. It took us the better part of 5 years to find a place that was this open. This is an area where there is really not even a dirt road to give access to our shooting area back here. Downrange, we have almost 7 miles of clear terrain that's bordered by the mountains. Even at that, it would be possible for a hiker to come in. So before we ever start to shoot and before the sun goes down and we can really secure the area, we fly the whole thing low level with the helicopter. We strongly advise against anyone else doing this sort of shooting unless they have taken the same precautions we have. There are very few places in the United States that offers this sort of depth of range to allow you to do this safely.
Friends, you've just seen a few short minutes of the terrific Machine Gun Magic tape from Dillon Precision. It's an action-packed documentary about sport machine gun shooting that explodes the media myths about full auto arms. So pass the ammunition and hold on to your seat and order this tape from Dillon Precision Products, 7442 East Bucyrus Drive, Scottsdale, Arizona. The zip code is 85260, or call them at 1-800-421-7632.
Call 1-800-942-TAPE for the largest selection of firearm videos in the world. Shotgun, rifle, and pistol videos for gun owners, competition shooters, military, law enforcement, and self-defense enthusiasts. For a free catalog delivered to your home, call now. 1-800-942-TAPE. Mail order video offers the largest and best selection of rifle, pistol, and shotgun videos in this complete full-size catalog. Call now for your free copy. 1-800-942-8273.
And now we're going to pause for 1 minute for your local cable company or station identification.
One way of safeguarding this revolver so a child or anyone who might pick it up absolutely cannot fire it is to take a regular garden variety padlock, right here, take a padlock and put it through the top strap of the revolver. And you can lock it in place, and you'll notice the cylinder will not close, and since the cylinder is out, there's no way
There's absolutely no way that can be fired.
That's right.
Even if the bullets were in the cylinder, you can't
There's no
get it
way
up there
that it
to
can
fire.
be fired. Another way of safeguarding a revolver is putting the lock through the trigger guard behind the trigger. And the same drill. Of course, remember to close the lock. But because the lock's in the way, the hammer cannot come back far enough to cock itself.
It jams the whole mechanism.
That's right, it jams the whole mechanism. You need to be sure that your lock is big enough to keep the trigger from coming back, so it will jam the mechanism. That's the whole point. So these are a couple of ways of making a revolver safe. And we cannot talk too much about safety. A lot of people now, a lot of single mothers who are heads of households are buying guns. They don't know really a lot about how to use them, and they have small children, and this is something that we have got to address. We want to prevent accidents. The thing to do is not have an accident and say, I'm sorry. Let's prevent accidents. Let's lock the doors at night. Let's prevent the accident. Again, friends, we'll talk about one more time. A reminder, we never, ever, under any circumstances, point the gun at anything that we cannot afford to lose, under any circumstance. That means no part of our body, no neighbor, no pet, no television set, nothing.
Crystal chandelier or anything else. If you want to lose it, point the gun. If you want to keep it, don't point the gun at it.
That's exactly
under any circumstances.
Under any circumstances, because as we've said before, accidental discharges do sometimes happen. And you'll notice we don't walk around the range with our finger on the trigger. We walk around, when we handle guns, we keep our finger out of the trigger guard.
Right.
We never put our finger on the trigger for any reason until we're ready to shoot. Now then, let's talk about safeguarding a semi-automatic handgun.
Okay.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the magazine I'll give that to you, Tom.
Okay.
And we're going to check, we're going to pull the slide back and be sure it's unloaded. And it is.
But there's not a round up in the chamber.
That's right. Look in the chamber, because this is a mistake that some people make. They'll take the magazine out of the gun. They'll forget about that bullet in the chamber.
One bullet in the chamber.
And some semi-automatics have magazine safeties that would prevent the gun from firing with one in the chamber, and others don't.
Do not.
So we're going to plan on none of them having magazine safeties.
That's the safest way.
That's right, because our sport is such a wonderful, great family sport. It's such a great thing for fellowship and camaraderie. Shooting is really a wonderful sport, and that's how we're going to keep it that way, by being safe, and then we're going to keep it safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the slide back on this gun. One way, Tom, as you and I have talked many times, you can safeguard a semi-automatic handgun against misuse is take a cable lock. And this is they're easily obtainable. You can find one down at your local hardware store or one of the discount stores. This one's made by Mossberg, and it works really well for our purposes. You can put the cable down through the opening in the slide and let it come out the bottom of the magazine well. And see, you can lock it closed, which we're going to do. And you'll notice that now the gun, the slide cannot go forward all the way. This gun is completely out of operation. There's no way this gun can be fired until you take the cable out. That's correct. And you know, Tom, we should mention, we talk about loaded guns, not pointing.
And we don't misfires and all of that.
We don't point unloaded guns.
That is correct. Whether the gun's loaded or not, if you just never point it, period, you'll never have that accident.
That's right.
That's a good point to bring up there.
It really is, because we, through some mistake or fluke or whatever you want to call it, somehow, some slip, there might have been a shell left in when we thought it was unloaded. And these are the accidents that sometimes hurt people, is they think the gun's unloaded. A gun is always a gun. It's always loaded. Whether it's got bullets in it or not, that's how to treat it. It's always loaded. So if we just follow some simple rules here, we'll be so much better off down the road. Another way to safeguard a semi-automatic handgun, again, we've pulled our slide back here. Get a shot of that. And we take our cable lock and we're going to put it down the barrel.
Straight down the barrel.
Just put it right down the barrel. And then
flip it around and lock it.
Flip it around here, up, and lock it in place right here. And again, there's no way this gun can be fired as long as that cable is in the barrel like that. It is in fact locked up. So again, a couple of safeguards. We just have to protect our children. And you know, a lot of adults don't know proper gun handling rules.
There's a lot of adults that just have never handled a gun, and they just know it's a gun, and they think it's just something they see on Western movies and shows. And,
that's right.
And they'll get a hold of it and know nothing about the operation of it, and they'll hit something a certain way, and that's when it'll go off and shoot something.
That's right. Well, you know, friends, down here on the range, as normal, you'll see I do have my eye protection on, which is so important, and my ear protection. We never come down here without it, not one time, never, something we do every time. I cannot stress that enough. We must save our sight and hearing. However, we may not need hearing protection for this gun. This is a toy. And these rubber band shooters, I think eye protection would not be a bad idea. Boy, I would have loved to have had that back in school. This is definitely a toy, but this is not. This is the Crosman 357 model pellet gun. And we want to thank the good folks at Crosman for loaning us a couple of pellet guns, in fact, because we think this will be an important part of our program. We must remember that our children need some experience in shooting pellet guns, air guns, BB guns, whatever you want to call it, in order to bring them into our sport. But this gun also has another use. It works like a regular revolver. You can practice indoors if you have the proper bullet trap, and certainly use eye protection anytime you shoot a pellet gun or anything like this. But also, you can use it in your backyard because it makes almost no noise at all. They're extremely accurate for reasonable distances, again, for a pellet gun. And this gun, let me show you how it works. It breaks open in the middle, and you have a disc here with 6 pellets placed in already, simple as can be. You put them in the gun on the little post there it pivots on, and now you're ready to shoot. This little revolver also has an excellent safety feature. It has, and let's see if we can get this, it has a push safety, and this will be especially useful around children because this will make the gun safe from being fired like any other firearm. So that's really not a bad idea at all. So you push it on and push it off. I want to remind you that this Crosman gun uses a CO2 powerlet, which is available almost everywhere. So just for fun, let's shoot these balloons at about 15 yards. Trust me, it's a lot of fun.
Now, friends, I want to tell you about something that we're going to be offering. We have a collection of wild game recipes. And for those of you out there who like to eat the game that you may harvest in hunting, well, we may have some answers for you. So send $5 and a stamped self-addressed envelope to Wild Game Recipes, care of the Shootin' Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code is 71104. Remember, $5 for a collection of wild game recipes, and send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Wild Game Recipes, care of the Shootin' Show. Again, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104.
It is September 1988, and the world's attention is focused on Seoul, South Korea, where thousands of athletes are assembling for the games of the 24th Olympiad. Among them are 26 men and women representing the United States as members of the U.S. Olympic shooting team. Like all athletes who reach the Olympics, the American shooters have had to make many sacrifices while dedicating themselves to their sport. And while a few Olympians may gain recognition or financial rewards from their achievements here, most, like the shooters, have made those sacrifices in pursuit of less tangible, but no less significant rewards. That's why members of the U.S. shooting team deserve special attention from anyone who still understands and appreciates the original spirit and ideals of the Olympic Games. And that's our goal, to look at athletes who have dedicated themselves to a sport where the true spirit of amateur competition remains alive, and to witness a triumph of dedication. Though shooters seldom get much attention from the general media, their sport has been one of the most enduringly popular in the Olympics. Since the modern games began in 1896, shooting events have been held in every Olympics except two, 1904 and 1928. In recent decades, shooting has attracted more participating nations and athletes than all other sports except track and boxing. Over the years, shooting has also proven to be one of the most difficult sports for an individual to dominate. Only 11 shooters have won 2 individual gold medals, and no shooter has ever won more than 2. Among the 2-time gold medalists are 4 Americans, including 2 in recent years, Gary Anderson and Lona Swigger. Not surprisingly, Americans have done well in Olympic shooting. In fact, American shooters have won more medals than athletes in all other sports, except track and swimming. So members of the 1988 Olympic shooting team are certainly part of a proud tradition. And in looking at these men and women, it's easy to see why shooting might be described as the world's most democratic sport. Because no other sport produces Olympic-level competitors who differ so much in age and size, and in their backgrounds. The youngest member of the U.S. shooting team is a 19-year-old college student from Tennessee, Scott Sweeney. A shooter since the age of 8, when he took the USJC's BB gun safety education course, Scott has been competing in his event, running game target, since he was 12. In contrast, the senior member of the team, 52-year-old Don Nygaard, didn't even start competing internationally until he was 42. But he certainly made up for lost time. And in 1988, Don is one of only 4 Americans competing in more than one of the 13 shooting events, men's free pistol and air pistol. Another American entered in 2 events is a 25-year-old former high school gymnast and cheerleader, Ronnie Miley. A resident of the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Ronnie has spent at least 24 hours a week preparing for her 2 events, women's standard rifle 3-position and air rifle. Dan Carlisle, a 32-year-old Californian, has spent more than half his life as a competitive shooter. A bronze medalist in trap in the 1984 Olympics, Dan will be competing in both trap and skeet events in Seoul. Another veteran of the 84 team, 44-year-old Eric Bulyoung, is entered in the air pistol event, which is making its debut in the 88 Olympics. The great majority of shooters find all the personal satisfaction they're looking for in club activities or in state and regional tournaments. But some will aim at higher goals and begin to take the first steps on a long and difficult road. The road may start in a field in the Midwest, or in the foothills of the Rockies, or at a shooting range in a large city. But no matter where it begins, with enough discipline and dedication, it may one day lead to a distant land, where athletes will assemble for the games of a future Olympiad.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or television station.
This is Larry Pratt with a commentary from Gun Owners of America. Waiting periods can be dangerous to your health. Take, for example, these cases. Bonnie El-Masri of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Mrs. El-Masri was threatened repeatedly by her husband, who had a long record of abuse. On becoming convinced in March 1991 that her life was really in danger, Mrs. El-Masri went to buy a gun. She was told that she would have to wait for 48 hours. Between the time Mrs. El-Masri tried to buy a gun and the end of the 48 hours, her husband killed her and her son. Igor Butorsky was a Jewish refugee from the Soviet Union back in 1983. He went into a retail furniture business in Brooklyn with a partner, and the two of them decided that they needed to keep a gun in the store. Weeks went by, and the New York City police had not decided to allow Mr. Butorsky to protect himself with a gun at his store. He was killed during a holdup. 4 months later, his partner still had not gotten a permit for the gun. Catherine Latta of Charlotte, North Carolina, had had so much abuse from her boyfriend back in 1990 that she decided that he would kill her if she could not protect herself. Desperate, she went to buy a gun and was told that the police check would take 2 to 4 weeks. "I'll be dead by then," she said. So that day she went to the bad part of town, as she called it, and bought a gun on the street. Later that night, a homicidal boyfriend broke through her barricaded door. She saved herself by shooting him. This is Larry Pratt with a commentary from Gun Owners of America. Waiting periods can be dangerous to your health. Take, for example, these cases. Bonnie El-Masri of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Mrs. El-Masri was threatened repeatedly by her husband, who had a long record of abuse. On becoming convinced in March 1991 that her life was really in danger, Mrs. El-Masri went to buy a gun. She was told that she would have to wait for 48 hours. Between the time Mrs. El-Masri tried to buy a gun and the end of the 48 hours, her husband killed her and her son. Igor Butorsky was a Jewish refugee from the Soviet Union back in 1983. He went into a retail furniture business in Brooklyn with a partner, and the two of them decided that they needed to keep a gun in the store. Weeks went by, and the New York City police had not decided to allow Mr. Butorsky to protect himself with a gun at his store. He was killed during a holdup. 4 months later, his partner still had not gotten a permit for the gun. Catherine Latta of Charlotte, North Carolina, had had so much abuse from her boyfriend back in 1990 that she decided that he would kill her if she could not protect herself. Desperate, she went to buy a gun and was told that the police check would take 2 to 4 weeks. "I'll be dead by then," she said. So that day she went to the bad part of town, as she called it, and bought a gun on the street. Later that night, a homicidal boyfriend broke through her barricaded door. She saved herself by shooting him. In Gainesville, Florida, during 1990, there was a serial killer on the loose in the university town. Anxious residents of Gainesville were told by the sheriff that they could go to the next county and avoid the waiting period enforced in Gainesville. But what would people do if there were a national 7-day waiting period? The answer is obvious. Just wait for the killer to come to them. If even one life can be saved, gun grabbers tell us, we should legislate infringements of the right to keep and bear arms. Let's use that same principle and insist that since waiting periods have cost lives, they should be done away with.
Friends, we ask you to consider joining us, Gun Owners of America, to help you retain your rights to keep and bear arms. Our address for the national headquarters is 8001 Forbes Place, Suite 102, Springfield, Virginia. The zip code is 22151. Our phone number is area 703-321-8585. And now we're going to play a little music for you that we think you'll really enjoy.
And we're very pleased to present once again Mr. Les Humphrey. And Les, what you going to do for us this time?
I'm going to do a little song that I picked up in Nashville when I was up there doing some recording. It's called Good Head on His Shoulders.
Well, I think everyone's going to enjoy.
He doesn't look like a man of the town. Without you, he wouldn't stand out in a crowd. But he knows what he's got and what he needs. And that's a lot more than I can say for me. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. Every time shoulders. He doesn't have a way with got away with you, but he knows what he's got and what he needs, and that's a lot more than I can say for me. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. Every time he holds you in his arms so tight, you can't get any closer. He's got a good head on his shoulders. If I could have another chance with you, this time I wouldn't waste it like a fool. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Every time he holds you in his arms so tight, you can't get any closer. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Mr. Les Humphrey.
We want to thank our good friend Les Humphrey for being on our program. And listen, friends, if you would like to be on our show with some sort of music presentation, please give us a call at the Shootin' Show. Our phone number is area 318-222-8515.
If you're like me, I bet you remember the first time you went out with Dad to shoot your new .22. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham. I've been shooting and hunting now for a lifetime, but this old .22 is a rifle that will always have special meaning for me. So this Christmas, see the folks who will steer you right. Whether for son or daughter, they'll help you select a gift with a lifetime of memories already built in. For the best selection and expert advice, see the real pro in your community.
Jerry Ahern, gun writer, holster expert, and best-selling author of The Survivalist, The Free Man, The Takers, announces the Ahern Tri-Speed Shoulder Holster, ambidextrous, large adjusts from 45 autos to 44 mag revolvers, 1 to 9s too. Small adjusts from Browning high power to Chief Special, suede lined black ballistic nylon, speed, superior retention, adjustable thumb brake, extra safety strap, uses a pull-through, a double lockdown, keeps the gun in the holster no matter what. Holster, adjustable harness, and double mag pouch, removable without removing your coat. Large mag pouch also carries 20-round extension magazines. Remove for belt carry. Holster can be worn without mag pouch. Specify large or small. Retail $62. Add $4 shipping and handling. Send check, money order, Visa or MasterCard to Ahern Enterprises, P.O. Box 186, Commerce, Georgia 30529. Visa and MasterCard orders only. Dial 1-800-285-1245. That's 1-800-285-1245. Have your credit card ready. Act now.
You know, friends, Handgun Quarterly has been one of the best strictly handguns magazines available for some time now. But Handgun Quarterly is now handgunning. And with editor Sherry Collins' contributions, they have a terrific new magazine that all of us will really enjoy. It's a bi-monthly with articles by Wiley Clapp, Charles Petty, and Dick Metcalf, to name a few of the fine gun writers who are writing for Handgunning Magazine. For subscription information, call 1-800-777-0012. Take a look at handgunning. You can't go wrong. You know, friends, Shooting Times magazine has been such a huge help to our program, and I can truthfully say I've been reading Shooting Times for at least the last 15 years, and it just seems to be getting better and better. They have terrific articles every month on long guns, shotguns, rifles, and handguns of all types. So if you want the absolute best in a monthly general shooting information magazine, pick up Shooting Times. You know, I often find myself going back and reading copies that are even several years old, and they're still as interesting as when I read it the first time. So for subscription information, call them at 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is.
I'm Jerry Ahern. I'm here again with my friend Mike Holloway. And Mike, how the heck are you and I wearing the same clothes? You had an explanation for that, didn't you?
Well, all I can say is for 13 years, Pa and Little Joe wore the same clothes for 13 years on Bonanza. So we can wear the same clothes.
Yeah, on the shooting show. There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. We can be on for 13 years too.
That's right. And I'll wear red, and you can wear brown and blue.
That's right. You got it.
There
you got
go.
it. And
I
you
did change my
Yeah, I
gun
saw you
belt.
changed your gun belt there.
Yeah.
You changed your gun belt. Well, I've added a few notches to my. No, I'm just kidding. But now we got some more really super fine collectible Colts here. Tell us about them.
Well, Jerry, this time I brought down some factory engraved Colts, which are rare and really sought after. We have a pair of factory engraved Frontier 6 shooters. Now these are kind of rare in the fact that these are not consecutive numbers. They are a matched pair in the same shipment, and they were ordered that way from the factory. They're not consecutive numbered, and most of your matched pairs are consecutively numbered. So that makes them kind of a rarity.
Those are beautiful.
Thank you.
Those are beautiful. What about, can I ask you, what is a special style of engraving?
This is just your standard
standard engraving.
American traditional engraving.
Great.
Yeah.
What's the next that we've got?
Well, right here we have a gun that has been pictured in 2 publications so far.
Oh, I remember you telling me about
this. This is a 3840, and it's one we call the April Fool Colt. It was shipped April 1st, 1929, and it has no patent dates on the frame.
Not
and the gun has survived the ages. It's in virtually 99.9% condition. It's virtually a brand spanking new gun. Factory oddities are really sought after. This is a 4 3/4 inch 3840 caliber.
I noticed something here. You said a gun. This is not a gun.
Well, now Colt made quite a few things.
Yeah.
This is just a Colt knife. And it was made for Colt in Sheffield, England. It's stamped Sheffield, England on the blade.
That's a nice-looking knife.
Well, I thought it was kind of odd. You would not think that to get a knife from Colt.
They've made holsters. I know that.
Holsters,
now I know
yes.
they made knives. Yeah.
I'll bring a holster and show you next time.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. What else we got here?
Well, we've got an old hog leg here.
Yes.
This old plow handle was shipped out to San Francisco in 1903. Pacific Hardware and Steel was the receiver's name. 4 3/4 45. That's really sought after by people who just want to play with a dog-eared old Colt, and that's a dog-eared old Colt.
That is a dog-eared old Colt. It's got a lot of character there. I bet you if this could tell some stories, it could tell some really good ones.
We would be spellbound for hours.
I think we would. I think we would. That's part of the romance of collecting, isn't it? Every gun has a story.
They all have a story.
Now, what about these? My favorite barrel length there.
7.5. This is a 7.5 inch 45 made about 1959. It's a nice old gun. It's just your standard run-of-the-mill 7.5 inch 45. These were shipped in a black box. When you have the original box with these guns, makes them a little more desirable, in which we have the original box for that one.
Oh, outstanding. And this one?
This is a second generation 44 Special. These are very rare because they didn't make that
44 Special.
And 44 Special, that's correct. Most of your barrel calibers were 38 and 45. And your customary barrel length was 5.5 to 7.5.
Yeah.
And anyway, the 44s are rare. They're hard to come by in second generation.
Oh, I would think so. I would think so. Last time we were together, you were giving a couple of pointers for people who are interested in Colts. You got any more suggestions for them?
Just buy all you can get.
Just buy all you can get. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We want to thank Mike Holloway for being on our program today and doing his interview with Jerry Ahern. And if you would like to contact Mike, if you have a question about collecting, he might be able to help you. Write him at Mike Holloway, Post Office Box 3245, Knoxville, Tennessee. His zip code is 37927. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or television station. Friends, you're probably not going to believe this, but you better. You're looking at the incredible Fort Knox gun safe, and this has to be as pretty an appliance as I think I've ever seen. The paint on this Guardian 600 safe is just beyond description. As you can see on the front of the safe, we have a beautiful mural featuring an elk and some Rocky Mountains, and this thing is just beyond belief to actually see it. This safe retails for over $2,000, and when you see it up close, you'll understand why. In fact, you'll think it ought to cost a lot more than that. Well, guess what? One of you lucky viewers is going to have this safe in their home as soon as we pull your name out of the hat in the drawing we're going to have for this Fort Knox safe sometime in late February. We'll keep you posted. So please, if you would like to have this beautiful Fort Knox gun safe, send your entry postcard to Fort Knox Gun Safe Giveaway, The Shootin' Show Incorporated, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code is 71104. Let me repeat that. Send your entry postcard with your name and address on it to Fort Knox Gun Safe Giveaway, The Shootin' Show Incorporated, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. The zip code is 71104. And friends, trust me on this one. As I like to say, this is an incredible deal. So get your entering postcard in today, because we want one of our lucky viewers to have this safe soon.
I'm Tom Cunningham, and I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I am part owner of Anvil Media Companies. That's 5 studios and 2 complexes, as has been advertised before, Reel to Reel Studio and Goodnight Dallas. Basically, we do lots of major commercials that are both regional and nationwide, and even some local stuff. But Dallas is pretty much, they claim to be the jingle capital of the world, but since we're on nationwide TV, that we might get some argument about that, but we do a lot of them anyway. We're fully digital, state-of-the-art, cutting edge of technology, whether it's to do commercials, or if you're a musical artist and you're looking for just top-notch recording, we can do it to the point that if you put out a compact disc, it can say DDD, digitally recorded, digitally mastered, and digitally mixed.
Now, friends, we appreciate so much Tom Cunningham's participation in our show and his assistance. If you have a song you want recorded, or music, or a commercial jingle, please give Tom a call out at Reel to Reel Studios at 2545 North Fitzhugh, Dallas, Texas. Their zip code is 75204. Their phone number is area 214-827-7170. The best quality at an excellent price.
You're looking at the world's most powerful production revolver, the 454 Casull by Freedom Arms. The 454 hurls a slug at 2,000 feet per second, 1 ton of stopping power, twice the power of a .44 Magnum. To show you just how powerful the 454 actually is, we offer a couple of head-to-head comparisons. In our first demonstration, Dick Casull fires a .44 Magnum at a 3/8-inch thick slab of steel plate. The .44 Mag makes a dent, but the 454 at the same range blasts a hole clean through. Let's see that again in slow motion. Now Dick will fire a .44 Magnum at an 8-inch block of duck seal, an extremely dense material used to test the penetration capability of firearms. A water jug has been placed behind the block. The .44 slug hits the duck seal with enough force to knock the jug over, but the slug doesn't go through. It's a different story with a 454. It blasts a slug through the duck seal and ruptures the jug. Here it is again in slow motion. And how about this? The 454, fired at a gallon can filled with water, blows apart the can and shatters the cement block it's sitting on. We've proven the power of the 454. Now we're proving that we produce the finest accuracy in any revolver manufactured. To substantiate this claim, every premier grade will be shipped with a target showing a 5-shot group fired from each individual chamber. The long-range accuracy and power of the 454 has made it a favorite among growing numbers of NRA silhouette shooters. Here, Larry Lindsay of Rocky Mountain Trails puts on an amazing display of the long-range capabilities of the 454. Larry knocks down ram silhouettes offhand at 325 yards with an iron sight 7.5 inch. This gun has been carefully designed with the emphasis on versatility. Most handgunners are discovering the felt recoil of the 454 is less than that of many of the .44 Magnums. The popular option that further reduces felt recoil is to have the gun magna-ported.
This is a 10-inch 454 Casull that has been magna-ported. When I was in Africa, I took a 454 that had no magna porting, and after 5 weeks of shooting with it and shooting with this one, I can tell a substantial difference.
The world's finest gunsmiths, utilizing state-of-the-art machine tool technology, make the 454 Casull and the complete line of Casull single-action revolvers, the world's finest handguns. Crafted from the most durable heat-treated stainless steel, these guns are masterpieces of precision. Freedom Arms has developed a special technology that provides a chamber-to-bore alignment of 5/10,000ths of an inch tolerance. This extremely close alignment ensures superb accuracy and performance. The cylinder and all major components of each handgun carry the individual serial number of each gun. While the 454 is the flagship of the Freedom Arms line, the same precision and quality is available in 45 Colt or 44 Magnum models.
And also now in 22 rimfire models, and also soon to be available in 357 Magnum with spectacular performance capabilities. Freedom Arms, Freedom, Wyoming. And we want you to remember our good friends at Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. They feature 35,000 firearms bargains. They have 36 big issues for only $20. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. The zip code is 68902. Their phone number is area 402-463-4589. For MasterCard and Visa customers, for subscriptions only, call 1-800-345-6923. Shotgun News. Order now. Don't put it off. Now, friends, if you want information regarding silhouette shooting, contact our good friends with the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association at Post Office Box 368, Burlington, Iowa. Their zip code is 52601-0368. Their phone number is area 319-752-9623. Friends, you're looking at Front Sight Magazine, which is the official journal of the United States Practical Shooting Association. If you want information about IPSC shooting in the United States, contact the United States Practical Shooting Association, 303 State Street, Cedro-Woolley, Washington. Their zip code is 98284. Their phone number is area 206-855-2245. Now take a look at this small cardboard box that I'm holding here. It's rather plain looking with some writing on the side. But let me tell you what, if you're a shooter, this box is as pretty as the nicest wrapped birthday present you ever had, because it contains some of Competition Specialties match quality cast bullets. Give our good friend Rick McDowell a call at Competition Specialties, area 515-342-2011, or write to them at Competition Specialties Match Quality Cast Bullets, Post Office Box 451, Osceola, Iowa 50213. A superior product at an excellent price. Now, friends, I also want to remind you, if you'd like to have our collection of wild game recipes, please send $5 and a stamped self-addressed envelope to Wild Game Recipes, care of the Shootin' Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code is 71104. Friends, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Shootin' Show. I'm Johnny Rowland, your host, and we hope that we can come back to your house again next week. If you would like to be on our show with some sort of club or music presentation, give us a call at area 318-222-8515. Remember, copies of our shows are available for $10.95 plus postage per weekly program. And we want to remind you to call your local cable companies, because we are free to them and we want to be in as many areas as possible. See you next week.